folks? Of course, my name is Reg West. Welcome back to Wave Files, the podcast. In this episode, we have a gentleman who I've known for many, 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 many years. He's worn many hats. Now he wears a chef hat. Listen, this is my guy, Ed Williams. He is of BK Lobster, the franchise man. What up? What up? What up, Ed?
What's going on, brother? What's going on, my man? I'm here, baby. Happy to see you.
Happy to see you too, man. I appreciate you for taking some time with us today on Wave Files and giving us the opportunity to talk to you about the BK Lobster and the franchises that you guys are opening up. So again, thank you for taking some time with me today.
Thank you for having me, my brother. Seriously, thank you.
So wow, yo, 14 spots. So I know about the first time I knew about y'all doing this was the spot on Nostrum, right?
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, yo.
So the way that happened was kind of bugged out because my partner Rodney's our CEO, and he BK Lobster's his brand. He came up with the concept. I know we're waiting for him to come on to the show, but basically, he had been in the franchising business through real estate. He was actually the franchise developer for Rapid Realty.
Got you.
Popping up all over Brooklyn. They were popping up all over Brooklyn like crazy, just going. And what ended up happening was when he sold that company, he took some of that money, and he was also involved in what was a seafood chain that was kind of leaning towards being a franchise called Magic Soul Food. And
that's in Queens, right?
There was one in Queens, and there were about four in Brooklyn.
Okay, I know about the one in Queens. I passed by that one before. Okay.
So what ended up happening with that was the attempt to franchise the Magic Soul Food didn't really work because soul food is just something where it's too hard to duplicate. Now we currently have 3 operating locations. We have BK Lobster in Bed-Stuy, which is our flagship Notion Avenue location. We have the second location, which I went ahead and opened, which is our Clinton Hill location on Myrtle Avenue. After that, we have the BK Lobster Williamsburg location, which was a huge power move because it's way, you know what I mean? Williamsburg, Brooklyn is probably arguably one of the trendiest areas in the world to not only business, go out to eat. We're following up with BK Lobster Harlem. That's about 2 weeks from being complete.
Mm-hmm.
And we're right across the street from world famous Sylvia's. So in developing these locations, we're very strategic on where we're putting these places. So following that, we have Prospect Heights, BK Lobster. We got Park Slope, BK Lobster. We have Queens. We're opening in Queens, in Jamaica. That's also going to be open probably within the next 45 days. That construction is done. We have moved out to Jersey. We have BK Lobster Elizabeth, New Jersey, BK Lobster, Jersey City. Then moving forward down 95, we're in Baltimore now. We got BK Lobster Baltimore. And moving further down south, we now have BK Lobster Atlanta in Midtown Atlanta. Shout out to my Atlanta team. We just came back from there. And we're in Miami. So BK Miami.
So basically, you done touched the whole I-95 all the way south with the joints.
We wanted to be pretty much like Subway, where the model is the Subway cashier takes your order, and they put on their gloves and turn around and make your sandwich.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the ideology of the lobster roll was basically behind that. Rodney did like Frank Lucas, and he went down to Maine. And he got the great number. You know what I mean? We took that trip. Remember when Frank Lucas went and
right.
And he got that good number.
Right.
Dang, brother. We did the same thing, and it made this thing profitable for us. And, that's where I came in with the numbers and with the profitability of breaking down these numbers and making this thing work, where this is what our margin on shrimp is going to be. This is what our margin on crab legs is going to be. This is what our margin on our lobster is going to be. Because if you look at across the board, seafood restaurants, you're always seeing crab this, crab that, seafood boil this, seafood boil that. You rarely see lobster.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely ever see restaurants that are anchored in lobster.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because lobster's too expensive, bro. It's too expensive. If you don't have the right number for your lobster, you're serving it just to say that you're serving it.
Right.
You're serving it just to have it on your menu, just so that if homeboy is out on a date with his girl and she wants, you know what I'm saying? And she
I
wants,
follow.
you got to have it on your menu. But most of those restaurants aren't making anything on those lobster tails, on
Mm.
that lobster. You know what I mean? Unless you got the right number. We actually we have BK Lobster Frozen Foods and BK Lobster Food Group. We're in talks, right? Cut it out, man. Cut it out. Nah, yo, you know what it is, Reg? Like, know me,
Yeah.
know me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's every time I get asked to do a podcast interview or something like that, like, I'll be honest with you, you know me long enough to know the camera's never been my thing. Being that guy out in the forefront, that's never been my thing. So,
Right.
when I was a promoter, I was always kind of the, yeah, my partner Rocky or this one or whoever, y'all go in the front, or, I'm doing a party with Obi. Obi's gonna be the one on the mic and up on the bar and all of that. Like, that was his thing, or those guys' things. Me, I was always worried about the money.
Yeah. Facts. This is facts.
I'm gonna be standing by the register.
This is facts.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, send those girls some bottles and send them some bottles, but I'm gonna be over.
You over here. I dig.
You know what I'm saying? So even with BK Lobster, it's become a situation where, at the beginning, that's what it was. And, the beginning, that's what it was for me. But Rodney being, the real personality, the dude that just loves to, get involved on the cameras, he's kind of like pulled me in to the mode of saying, like, yo, dog, no, you have to do these interviews. They have to know who you are, because, we're making Black history. We are we're the first Black owned lobster franchise. And I mean, as incredible as, our growth is, growing so exponentially as fast as we're growing, the major thing for me, the things that I sit down with my sons and kind of drill into their head is that, this is important, because when they, when this logo is seen 50 years from now or 100 years from now, we got to know that this was the first time of, being involved in something that we did, that we did first, and made it available to people that look like us.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
we took from the Chipotle, I'm sorry, not Chipotle, the Chick-fil-A model of keeping the franchise fees low to allow for entrepreneurs to get involved without having, the $1 million franchise fee, or having to be able to show, $6-7 million of capital that you can put your hands on. But we're different from Chick-fil-A, where you can actually get one of ours, not the, waiting list that Chick-fil-A has, of the application process and their training of who it is. No disrespect to Chick-fil-A,
Right.
in their vetting process, but we're doing something that, although we are vetting who we allow to be our franchisees, we are still opening. How did Jay say? Open the market up. We're opening the market up so that those of us that have been kept out of the franchising game are allowed to actually step in, get a view of it, from the inside, and understand that, like, yo, this is something that we can actually do. Right?
When did BK Lobster Nostrand open?
August of 2019.
All right. So y'all had about what, 6, 7 months,
Yeah, yeah,
6, 7 months of getting y'all feet wet, and
yes.
then COVID happens, right?
Oh,
Now I know your Nostrand spot because I've actually been to the Nostrand spot. You're like you're in indoor dining location. You do takeout, you do
right,
delivery,
right,
but I also know with your other two locations, they have outdoor dining available and whatnot. How are you guys doing during COVID, and what was your conversation with your partners like? Because I know a lot of businesses
right,
that are at a larger scale
right.
that aren't doing well right now. I have restaurant friends who
Yeah,
are obviously managers, bartenders,
yeah,
owners, servers who are you
right.
know getting that weekly check and from unemployment right now because business ain't there.
Right.
How are y'all surviving, and are you thriving in this environment?
Well, what's happening with us, and I'm actually hoping that your audience, really pays attention to this part. Um, we didn't know, that we were going to be pandemic proof, because we didn't know what a pandemic was.
Right,
Happened, but again, the business model was one where high overhead wasn't something that we had to deal with or had to be a part of. That's what puts a large scale restaurant in a place or in a situation where they're going to be in trouble once indoor dining is shut down, or once, social distancing has to be done or something like that, because now you got to cut your
right,
numbers. Because if your restaurant is anchored in people sitting down and eating, and now you tell people they can't sit down and eat, what are you going to do?
right,
You know? So now we never closed our doors. Notion Avenue location never closed its doors. When everybody else was shutting down and trying to figure out what they were going to do, if there was going to be a pivot, if they were going to close, whatever they were going to do, we basically said, "Yo." I talked to Rodney over the phone. I said, "Yo, dog, what we gonna do?" He said, "I don't know." And I said, "Look, we're already on Uber Eats. We're already on DoorDash. We're already on Grubhub. Let's just turn it up. Let's just turn it up, and let's let people know that they can still get food from us.
mm,
Once the city let it be known that restaurants were essential businesses and allowed to be open, we hit the ground running. And our mindset was, yo, everybody got to eat. We are essential. You know what I mean? So being this how of being that we were essential, and we were able to quickly and easily shift to, because again, Notion Avenue is a restaurant lounge. You've been there. It's
right,
lounge. We have fun. We do the R&B Tuesdays. We did our Sunday live R&B, all that kind of stuff, where people being inside is what's needed. But the type of food that we're serving, the lobster roll essentially is a high end sandwich. So
right,
it's to hand that to somebody, and let them go about their business. You don't have to put on a bib and crack, and although we do have food that you do need to do that with our crab legs and whole lobsters, we do serve that. But the foundation of our menu, our lobster roll, is something that is fast casual. So it gives you the celebration aspect of, because lobster is a celebration food. So it gives you the celebration aspect of lobster, gives you the high end aspect of everything that lobster gives. But it puts it in a situation where we can just say, "Here you go, sir. Here you go, ma'am. Have a great day." Or put it in a bag, because of being contactless. Put it
right,
in, pick up your bag. You understand what I'm saying? So when it came down to staffing, again, we we made our hiring before this even happened, where a cashier has to be able to have the ability to make lobster rolls, or they just can't work for BK Lobster. They have to have
follow,
handlers. It was designed that way. But like I said, we didn't know that we were designing something that was going to put us in a position to be able to not only sustain through this thing, but grow. We started with one location with the ideology that we were going to franchise, but we had no idea that I was going to open my second location smack in the middle of
Middle.
the pandemic. I opened Memorial Day weekend. I opened our second location Memorial Day weekend of 2020, smack in the middle before any phase one, phase two, any of that kind of stuff was happening.
Uh,
We were still locked down. You could only do takeout and delivery, and that's all it was. So it ended up being a situation where the growth just happened because we were the option. We were the option. We were available. And the outdoor dining component was something that it just happened to be at the location already. And I wanted to just have something, yo, when it gets hot, this is going to be dope. There was no thought or clairvoyance or psychic prediction that this whole indoor dining thing was going to be a necessity. Of course not. I didn't know. It was there and it happened. Like I said, bro, God. It was God, man, and God somehow guided that second location to having a dope outdoor space, Williamsburg having a dope outdoor space, and putting us in a situation where every single way that this thing has swayed us, knocked us, blown us, we've been able to bob and weave and duck and smile at it and keep going. That's essentially how it's happened. To answer your question, we have not just survived this thing, we have thrived through it. We're opening while other businesses are closing.
so essentially, not no pun intended. You're on your wave right now. You know what I mean? You're really on the wave right now.
Without a question. Like me and my partner make a joke all the time, man. We're like, yo, we might be the new strand of COVID. You know, like a virus, bro. We just keep growing. We just keep growing. It's and like I said, it's a blessing, man. We get cocky and we joke around and we play. But brother, when I tell you, man, getting down on my knees and thanking my creator for this opportunity, for this blessing, when I'm watching so many people lose their businesses, lose their homes, not know where their next meal is coming from, relying on stimulus, relying on this, that, and the third. I mean, God.
Is there like an overall plan? Y'all see yourselves being like you mentioned Chick-fil-A earlier. I don't know if that hit the actual broadcast, but you mentioned like a Chick-fil-A kind of format. Is that the goal? Like to have a plethora like of BK lobsters? Are we having BK lobster Dubai eventually? Like
Without,
is that
without,
that's the goal?
without question. We actually are in negotiations, folks, right now of moving to Mexico. We went down to Mexico back in October, and we actually have set up deals in Playa del Carmen, in Cancun, and in Tulum. So we're in the process of just trying to figure out the logistics and the infrastructure of making those situations happen. So
Okay.
going international is definitely what we're doing. Definitely what we're doing. But we have to, and it's something that we've had to actually step back and say, yo, all right, let's
Pace this out. Right.
let's down a little bit. Let's get these locations open because again, moving like this is great, but moving like this during the pandemic and in the midst of everything, it's just something where we have to be strategic. But again, a lot of this is just drive. A lot of this is just passion. A lot of this is picking up this book, picking up that book. I'm reading Warren Buffett's books. I'm reading, I'm reading up on what Steve Jobs did. I'm reading up on what Dave Thomas did. I'm reading up on what Roy Crockett did as far as franchising is concerned with Wendy's and McDonald's and all of these locations. I'm being mentored by one of the best in the game when it comes down to the franchise market of IHOP, which is Ron Don Poole Cummings. Which
Yes.
shout to Don Poole. I look at my phone sometime and get these text messages from him, and he's like, "Yo, dog, I'm proud of you." you know. And I look at what he's done with IHOP and Brooklyn Chop House and with Brooklyn Chop House dumplings being in Walmart. He's the reason that we're moving into BK Lobster Foods and want to put our lobster mac and lobster pasta in Walmarts and Targets and Wegmans and things like that, and Publix, you know, when we look at those gentlemen and understand that, you know, the grind, the climb up the ladder of success was not an easy one for any of us.
How is it? Well, let me rephrase this. When you hear people tell you, "Oh, you're moving too fast. It's only been 2 years since you opened the first location. Why are you moving so fast?" What's your reaction to those people?
Um, Usually, you know what? Let me say, it used to be a little bit of anger,
Mm,
a little bit of feeling like, you know, you're hating. You know, if it was somebody around my age, the feeling was that they were hating. When it was an older person like my mom, oh my God, yeah, wow, you got two, you got two. What? Wait, why y'all moving so fast? It wasn't until again Rodney and myself sat down with our mothers and explained to them what this is. My mother said to me very recently, I never even thought about why there were so many McDonald's. I didn't care. I knew that's why I went to get a Big Mac. I never cared why there were so many Wendy's or White Castle. I knew that's where I went at 3 o'clock in the morning after the club to go get my cheeseburgers. That's all I cared about, you know? And my mom said to me something that actually brought tears to my eyes. And it's crazy because sometimes when I say it and repeat it, you know, I almost get a little choked up. You know, my mom said to me that I had to stop and realize that my boy and his boy are changing the minds of our people that have had these chains on our brains for so long. She said, she said, you literally gave me a key to unlock my mind. And I still don't get all of it. You know,
mm,
she said it to me, and she said it to me, and I'm just looking at her and I'm thinking about the fact that, you know, she was born during the civil rights movement, and my mom has seen so much progression throughout her 66, 67 years of life, but still with education. My mom got degrees, all that kind of stuff. You know, even with all of that, the simple aspect of understanding what a franchise is, she had no idea. None whatsoever. So the ideology of slow down only made sense to her because that's all she knew.
mm.
All she knew was, whoa, 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 whoa. Get one working and then, you know, get your security. You know, again, I got a city job because my mother hammered that mindset. You know, back when I was a nightclub promoter, that back this and the third, it wasn't until I had children and she was like, yeah, that promoting thing is cool, but you need a steady job. You need benefits, which she was right. She was right. And I definitely don't take anything from it. But we were never conditioned to learn about speed. Strike while the iron's hot. Whenever anybody was striking while the iron's hot, I don't know. I don't know. I hope it works for them with that little bit of, I hope it doesn't
Mm,
background. You know, the crab in a barrel mentality that we sadly suffer from. As
sure.
you know, as I touch a lobster claw on my shirt, the crab in the barrel mentality, you know, that we suffer from. I had to get to a point of answering those people that are like, yo, you moving too fast. I had to get to a point of making a very, very simple decision as soon as they said it. And that simple decision was either I'm just gonna smile and nod my head and shrug my shoulders of, oh well, you know, I'm doing my best. Or actually, you know, grabbing their hand and saying, let me explain to you why I'm moving so fast. Let me explain to you why there's a benefit to me moving so fast. And you know, I love those conversations where I can actually sit down with somebody and make them understand that, this is something that isn't going to work if we stay stagnant. If we only have two locations, for 10 years, there's nothing wrong with that, but it does not serve what it is to be a franchise.
Mm.
Franchise is governed and is measured by its speed of growth, you know, as well as its quality, as well as its quality of growth. So that's the hard part, is making sure that as we grow so fast, the company grows with hiring and infrastructure and putting, project managers and team leads and regional directors, because these are the things that we're all doing right now, you know, and we're giving jobs, bro. We're giving jobs. A lot of the people that we've brought into the company were laid off this past year. Quality folks, quality people in our network that I thank God, not thank God that they lost their job, but thank God that they were available to me to be able to pull into this now, and they can grow with us at a grassroots, grandfathered in at a ground level location, to be able to say, yo, when BK Lobster does have, you know, 15,000, 20,000 locations, I was there when they had three. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we want. That's what we want, to be able to to enjoy the fruits of our labor. I mean, I'm gonna be on a yacht somewhere one day and look back to, when I was running around, carrying fries at Jetro, and running here and running there to the BFT to pick up the lobster and the fish. And if you don't do it like that, then you don't appreciate it. You don't appreciate the success. Now, yes, I got people going and doing that for me. I got and that's great. But moving too fast, nah, bro. Nah, we moving. We moving. We ain't moving too
Okay.
fast. And again, it only becomes too fast if we don't make sure that the infrastructure is growing as we're growing. Because giving somebody a franchise and not giving them support on how to run that franchise is when, no, you're not moving too fast. You're moving wrong. You're moving wrong because you're not giving them what they need. Speed, it's not about the speed. It's not about the
Okay.
speed. It's about the aspect of troubleshooting and the aspect of moving. We're measured by how fast we grow and how hot we are. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to want your lobster roll slow. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go into the location of a fast casual seafood model and want us to take our time. You know what I mean? So why should you want me to take my time with growing my business? If the product is good, if it's working, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And the network and the support and the growth and the building is what makes it not too fast, because it's not like I'm doing this by myself. It's not like I'm opening 13 locations personally or 15 or 16 locations personally. That might be too fast. That might be pulling myself too far. That might be too crazy. But franchising allows for the growth through others and the growth through a network. It's not too fast. Never gonna.
Okay. Well, on that note, I think that's where we're gonna leave it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my guy Ed Williams of BK Lobster. You can catch him hopefully on a yacht somewhere in about 5 years, smoking a cigar.
Two, two. Hopefully,
one of the, one of those double decker yachts with the elevator in the joint. Yo, I appreciate you, my brother, for taking some time to sit with us today. We'll God willing, we'll do a part two in season two to catch up on the events and the openings of these 14 BK Lobster restaurants. Oh, hold on, Ed, tell the people social media handles and all that for BK Lobster, please.
absolutely. BK Lobster, at BK Lobster is our main corporate and flagship location. Instagram, we have BK Lobster Clinton Hill, BK Lobster Williamsburg, BK Lobster Baltimore. Running down the list of all of the locations that I mentioned earlier. BK Lobster Jamaica, Queens. www.bklobster.com is our website if you are interested in franchising with us, investing with us, partnering with us. Even if you're interested in just getting involved to understand and know how you can franchise whatever your business is, we want to partner with you. We want to network with you. We want to help you because we want help. It's just that simple. We're not too proud to admit that we can't do everything and we don't know everything. So we can teach you something. Hopefully you can teach us something.
And
So
I hope we taught you something today, ladies and gentlemen.
go.
Yo, Ed Williams, BK Lobster. This is Wave Files. We gone. Woo!